Salut my little baguettes, welcome to l'Académie Équilibre, and today we're doing les pronoms possessifs. So before we dive into that, there's another basic topic, that is les adjectifs possessifs. So this is like the foundation stone. You need to have clarity on what is the possessive adjective in order to understand what is les pronoms possessifs. So I would recommend watching that first, because if you understand what adjective possessive is, where we use it and how we use it, pronoun possessive is just an extension of it. So I'm assuming that you're clear on that, which is why you're here on this video. So we're going to be starting with the pronoun possessive. So before we come to that, we'll just do a quick revision of what possessive adjective is. Now these help us understand who owns a particular object or noun. Okay, so my uncle, my brother, his best friend, or her book, all of that is your possessive adjective. Now in French, we know that everything has a gender and number, which is why the possessive adjective have many forms. Even the word my has 3 forms according to that. So it is extremely important to know the table. So these are our adjective possessive in French. These are all of them. So the first column is used for masculine singular nouns. Okay. Then the second one is used for feminine singular nouns, and third one is used for plural, be it masculine, be it feminine. As long as it's plural, we use the third column. So now all 3 of these mean my, this is your, his or her, our, your, and their. Okay, I'm hoping this entire thing is clear to you in depth. Now before we come to le pronom possessif, you need to understand what is the difference between adjective possessive and pronom possessive. We'll understand that through an example. We'll take it in English. As you can see, we have 2 sentences. First one is, this is my pen, this is not your pen. And second one is, this is my pen, not yours. So here, my is our adjective possessive, right? That is clear to us, because it's telling us who owns the pen. Who owns the pen? I do, my pen. Now, second part of the sentence, this is not your pen. Here, your is also adjective possessive, because it's telling us whose pen is it? It's not your pen. Alright, now the second sentence, again, first part is the same, that is my pen, but in the second part, we say just yours. Now both the sentences are saying the same thing. So this sentence is saying pen twice, and here we only say it once. Here, the yours is your, what we call, pronoun possessive. Here we know that we're talking about the pen, right? It is implied that we're talking about the pen. But we don't have to say it again and again, my pen, your pen, his pen. We can just say his or yours or theirs, right? It is clear that the entire sentence is talking about the pen. So why say it over and over again? So adjective possessive always goes before a noun. That is pen. Pen here is your noun. And pronoun possessive, on the other hand, is replacing your noun. Why do we need to replace the noun? So if it is clear to us that we're talking about a pen, why say it again and again? So it helps avoid repetition. So pronoun possessive makes our sentence shorter and it avoids the repetition. Pronoun is nothing but your pronoun, and it replaces the noun, which is your pen. We'll take another example. We have the sentence, your work is better than mine. Now your is your adjective possessive. It's talking about whose work is it? It's your work. And the second part, mine. Here also we're talking about my work. But I don't have to say work again and again and again. I can just use my pronoun possessive, that is mine. So mine is nothing but your pronoun possessive. Now I hope the difference is clear to you, and we can finally understand how we write the word like mine or yours or theirs in French. We're already aware that everything in French has a gender and number. Okay, so when you're replacing the noun, for example, the pen or work, you need to know that work in French has a gender, pen in French has a gender. So according to that, you put your adjective possessive. That we are already clear on. Now we understand how do we follow gender rules in pronoun possessive. There also we have a table which is extremely crucial, so you'll need to at least draw it in your notebook or memorize it. Before we come to that, there's one small topic, that is article défini. that is les articles définis. Now please don't get confused, why am I dragging article défini in all of this? It has a part, we'll come to that, alright? I'm not just blabbering, okay? So in article défini, we know it is le, la, les and l apostrophe, right? Which all of them means the. By now it's pretty obvious that le is masculine singular, la is feminine singular, and les is plural, that is be it masculine or feminine plural, and l apostrophe is for your vowel, a singular vowel. Soon enough we're going to come to its role in the table, but first we'll need to draw the table. Again, the table is pretty similar to the l'adjectif possessive one. Let's start with our subjects. Now we come to the gender and number division. So first one will be masculine singulier, second is going to be your feminine singulier, and then third category is your plural or pluriel. Now if you see in adjective demonstrative table, we only have one column for the plural ones, that is be it masculine pluriel or feminine pluriel, they're all combined into one single column. But here for pluriel, we will have separate for masculine and separate for feminine. Here comes the role of article défini. So for masculine singular ones, we're going to place le before every single one of them. That means le has to be there without fault. Same way, la has to be there, and for pluriel, les has to be there. Finally, we come to our main thing. So with je, masculine singular, we place mien. That is le mien, mine. La, mienne. That is an extra n and e. For masculine pluriel, le mien. For feminine pluriel, les miennes. Same way for tu, we take tien, le tien. Now with plural that becomes le tien with an s. For feminine it is la tienne. And for feminine pluriel, you take the same word tienne and add an s to it. With il, elle, it is sien. Okay. Then if you make it plural, masculine plural, you'll take same word and add an s to it. For feminine pluriel, sienne. That is la sienne, hers. This one is les siennes and add an s to it. With nous, it is le notre. Now be very careful. Here we add an extra thing, that is l'accent circonflexe, that is a little cap on the O, and it will be there throughout. From here our job gets a little easy because we're going to be using the same word, that is notre. The only difference is that before feminine you have to place la, here you have to place le. Here also just add an s to both of them, but make sure les is there. From here onwards, your article défini will play an extremely important role. Obviously it has to be there for all of them, but here, because this is more or less the same, the la or the le tells you the gender. Alright, with vous, it is le votre. Here also be very careful, l'accent circonflexe on the O. Le votre, la votre, les votre, and finally same le votre. Last one, that is theirs, we take le leur, la leur, les leurs, and les leurs. A mistake that students make very often is that they will forget the article défini. That means this part they will forget, and there in most cases you tend to lose marks. Finally, if the table is clear to you, you need to learn it because it will be extremely important in the paper. The meanings of, obviously this one means mine. All four of them in this row will mean mine. Same way, all four are going to mean yours, his or hers, ours, yours, and finally theirs. Now the example that we understood in English, this one, we're going to take it in French and we'll see how adjective possessive is done and how pronom possessive is done. So first part of the sentence, you have your noun, that is stylo, and before the noun we place adjective possessive. Now this is masculin singulier, and we're talking about my pen. I already clarified that. So here, according to the table, we'll go for mon because it's masculin singulier, so it becomes mon. Fine. Now I want to say it's not yours. Now you need to understand this will not be given to you. After the blank, for pronom possessive, you don't have the noun. We look at the noun to understand the gender and number. But if the noun isn't given to you, how will you identify whether it's masculine, feminine, singular, pluriel? There, you need to see the first part of your sentence, that both blanks are going to be talking about the same thing, stylo. It won't be given to you because this blank is what is replacing stylo, but we're still talking about this one here. So stylo, again masculin singulier, and we're talking about yours. So le tien. C'est mon stylo, ce n'est pas le tien. This sentence helped us understand that adjective possessive, that is more, goes always before a noun. That means after the blank, if you have a noun, you're going to put adjective possessive in the blank. And in case after the blank you have nothing, that means your sentence ends with the blank, there you're supposed to put pronom possessive. So if you have nothing after the blank, or if you have a verb, that sentence we're going to do an example for that, it means that it's supposed to be pronom possessive. Okay, now because there's nothing after the blank, you will refer to this noun, because in the whole sentence we're talking about one noun, and for the gender and number thing you'll refer to that particular word. Because pronom possessive, the role is to remplacer le nom. Because you will have a mixed sentence, you need to pay attention to all 3 points. Whatever is the gender of this word will also be the gender for this. That much should be clear to you. We'll take a verb sentence now. So we have a sentence, voici dash stylo dash et cassé. So here we're supposed to put adjective possessive and pronom possessive. Here your noun is given after the blank, that means we'll put adjective possessive. So masculin singulier again, so voici mon stylo. Here's my pen, yours is broken. Okay, so here A is your verb être, to be, and it is just after the blank. That means we don't have a noun. So we'll put pronom possessive. We don't have a noun because we're replacing the noun with the pronoun. Still we're talking about the stylo. So masculine singulier, yours as in with respect. Okay, maybe I'm talking to a teacher. So I'll use le vôtre. Le vôtre est cassé. So in this case, you have a verb after the blank. Why I'm telling you this is because you need to identify. For both students, you will have an exercise mixed with pronom possessive and adjective possessive. So how do you identify which one goes where? Noun is there, that means adjective. Verb or nothing at all, like here, is there, then pronom possessive. Now one more little topic that comes under this is article contracté. So we have two types of article contracté. One is the a ones and the other is the ones. So under the a category, that is to, in or at, we have au, à la, à l'apostrophe and au. All of them mean the same thing. Then the category, you have du, de la, de l'apostrophe and des. Now this is masculine singular, this is also masculine singular, feminine singular, vowel and pluriel. Now what is the role of this in pronom possessive? We're aware that we put article défini before all of them. Now in case I want to say something like, I write to my parents, do you write to yours? Okay, now it will create a clash because we're already putting article défini before it. Now I also have to put these before it. Okay, so we can't have two articles together. That is, I can't have article défini and article contracté. So what we need to do is that we merge them. How do we merge them? This you'll need to understand. So, for example, I have a and I have le. Mien, for example. To, mine. Now, a and le I can't place together, so instead I write au mien. For example, I received a card from my friends. Did you receive from yours? Okay, so de plus le, I get due. We're not doing any sort of math here. This is really simple. I'll give you an example too. De plus la becomes the la. De plus L apostrophe becomes the le. Okay, and de plus le becomes de. Now I hope this is clear to you. So for example, if you have a sentence, Richard a écrit This is your passé composé. So she wrote. A parent et tu as écrit. That means you wrote. Again, passé composé. So what we're trying to say is that Richa wrote to her parents and you wrote to yours. Now first part of the sentence will be adjective possessive because parents is your noun. Okay, I'm telling whose parents are they? They are Richa's parents. That means L, right? So with L, parent, first of all, we need to understand the gender and number. We've identified that we're going to use adjective possessive. With what? With L. Now, what is the gender of parent? It is pluriel. Does not matter masculine or feminine for now. So we write ses parents. Richa a écrit à ses parents. Et tu as écrit. Now here it will be. Still we're talking about parents. So tu, it has to be any of these four. Right? Because we're talking about tu. Now parents are plural. So it can either be le tien or le tienne. Now parents masculine. Okay, ILS, that is they. So with il we write le tien. So it becomes le tien. Simple. Fine, but now the question is, I have to say you write to yours. Okay, but here it's only saying you write yours. That does not make sense. How do I know I have to say to? If I can't translate every single time that whether it should be to, from, of, how do I know it? It will already be given to you here. That is, is given to me. Now that means I also have to put here. But because I can't have two articles together, as I already said, I have to merge them. I can't write it this way. I have to merge plus les. And this I already know it is O. It is O. So it becomes O, tiens. Fine. So the A part or the DE part will already be given to you in the first part of the sentence or before the adjective possessive part. That you have to read the entire sentence. Even if you can't translate it, that is completely fine. You have to pay attention to the a or the. If it is before the blank in adjective possessive, you also have to put it in pronopossessive. That is your job. It is given to you here with adjective possessive. It is your job to make sure you also write it with pronopossessive. And this merging thing only happens here. We don't have to do it here. We don't have to do it in the first part because it's already given to you in the sentence, okay? And there you're not putting any article defini either, okay? It's just a simple SES. This is only here for your reference so that you can know that you're supposed to put it before pronopossessive. So what you need to do is you need to identify that it is there in the sentence. Okay, once you've identified, you have to put it with pronopossessive. And so this was your pronopossessive. It's extremely simple. Once you understand what adjective possessive is, this is only the extension of it. Okay, just a little more details. You need to know this table. That's important. You need to know what happens when article contracte is there, and you need to know how you do mixed exercise. That is adjective possessive and pronopossessive mixed. I've already given you the indications which will help you understand where to put what. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you very much. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you very much. In case you did not understand adjective demonstratif, there's already a video for it in my series called Back to the Basics. You can check that out.